The frozen world of Velkar 9 spun slowly beneath the pale light of two distant suns. The planet looked peaceful from orbit, just mountains, snow, and long shadows stretching across empty plains. But under that quiet surface, something ugly was happening. Deep in one of the icy valleys, alien traders of the Galactic Empire had set up a secret black market. They were selling something they did not understand: human weapons. Crates filled with Terran rifles, railguns, and drones were being traded for credits and power. Alien buyers gathered, fascinated by the deadly beauty of human design. None of them knew how to use the weapons properly, yet all wanted to own them. To the Empire, it was just another profitable deal. But to humanity, it was betrayal. Those weapons were not meant for alien hands. They were a part of Earth's blood and history. Far away in the deep silence of space, a small stealth ship drifted without lights. Inside it, Captain Ryan Holt sat alone, his face calm and focused. He was a sniper, one of the few still active after the human wars ended years ago. He had seen too many planets burn, too many friends fall. He was supposed to be retired, but his past never stayed quiet for long. A coded transmission flickered onto his screen. Coordinates, encryption seal, Terran command. The message was only one line long. Human weapons traced to Velkar 9. Recover or eliminate. No witnesses. Ryan leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin. They're selling our weapons now, he said softly. His AI companion Mira replied in a calm female voice. Confirmed. Records show at least 12 shipments sold to unknown alien buyers. Profit margins exceed 2 billion credits. Ryan stared out at the stars, his voice low and cold. Then it's not about money anymore. It's about respect. He reached for his rifle case, long black and marked with an Earth insignia faded by time. When he opened it, the weapon inside gleamed like silver ice. He called it Erebus, his partner through every battle. As his ship entered Velkar's orbit, the wind howled outside like a living thing. The world below shimmered in blue and white, endless fields of snow and rock. Mira adjusted their descent. Stealth landing initiated. Atmospheric temperature -72. Visibility moderate. Recommend thermal camo. Ryan checked his gear. White armor, low-profile cloak, minimal noise. Everything designed for one purpose: to disappear. When the ship touched down in a canyon far from the main city, Ryan stepped out into the biting air. The snow crunched softly beneath his boots. The wind cut across the mountains, carrying faint echoes of alien voices. He climbed to a high ridge overlooking the valley. Below him he saw it, the black market hub. Metal domes glowed faintly under the twin suns, smoke rising from vents. Dozens of alien ships sat parked around a central plaza. Traders moved between crates, loading and unloading Terran rifles. Ryan adjusted his scope, zooming in. His eyes hardened when he saw the familiar shape of human weapons, everyone tagged with Earth's serial codes. Through the lens, he watched an alien soldier testing one of the rifles. The creature fumbled with the trigger, curious and clumsy. The rifle hummed, then flashed bright blue. It fired once on its own, the blast missing everyone but leaving a perfect scorch line in the snow. The crowd scattered. The alien threw the weapon away in fear. Ryan smirked slightly. They don't even know what they're holding. Mira analyzed the feed. Unregistered activation detected. These weapons may still carry active AI cores. Terran va code. Highly classified. Ryan whispered. So they're not just stolen. They're alive. He moved down through the snow, careful and quiet. The temperature dropped lower with every step. His breath turned to mist inside his helmet. The faint hum of the market grew louder, mixed with mechanical clicks and alien chatter. Ryan hid behind a ridge and set up his rifle, the scope locking onto a tall alien standing at the center of the camp. This one wore decorated armor, probably the trade leader. Mira scanned the area. 24 life signs. 4 security drones, all targets armed with Terran weaponry. Ryan adjusted the wind gauge on his scope. Let's send them a message first. The crosshair stopped on a stack of stolen rifles. He fired once. The sound cracked through the icy air like thunder. The bullet struck a crate, setting off a chain reaction. Plasma bolts exploded upward, showering sparks across the camp. The alien screamed, running in panic. Some fired back wildly into the snow, hitting nothing. From his perch, Ryan stayed calm. Every move he made was slow, deliberate. One by one, he shot out the market lights, plunging the camp into darkness. They'll think an army hit them, he said. Mira replied. Correction. 1 sniper. In the chaos, Ryan moved positions, melting back into the storm. He left no footprints, no heat trace. The aliens below shouted orders, searching for a target that wasn't there. "Report this to command," one cried. "We're under attack." But no army came, just silence and the faint whisper of snow. Ryan climbed higher, scanning the remains of the camp. Fires burned weakly among the wreckage. He could see alien ships lifting off, retreating in fear. The black market was broken, at least for now. Mira broke the quiet. Transmission intercepted. The Empire suspects human involvement. Ryan chuckled softly. Good. Let them wonder. He looked once more at the valley below, now empty and glowing faintly under the rising sun. The rifles lay scattered in the snow, silent and cold like fallen ghosts. He whispered, "Earth doesn't sell its weapons, not without a fight." The wind carried his words into the distance across the frozen ridges of Velkar 9. The mission had only begun, somewhere out there. More of Earth's weapons were being traded and more lines had to be crossed. Ryan slung his rifle over his shoulder, eyes sharp beneath his visor. He started walking toward the horizon where the snow met the morning light. Behind him, the last sparks from the destroyed market faded into the sky. Ahead, the next target waited, unseen, unready, and unaware that the sniper was already watching. Snow drifted gently through the thin blue air, falling over the ruins of the black market camp. Smoke rose in lazy spirals from shattered crates and burnt metal. The sounds of panic had faded into the distance. Only the wind remained now, whispering across the frozen ground. Ryan crouched on a ridge above the valley, watching the aftermath through his rifle scope. What was once a busy market of alien traders was now a graveyard of greed and silence. But he knew this was just one of many. Somewhere deeper in the Empire's network, more of Earth's weapons were being sold to buyers who didn't even know how to hold them properly. Mira's voice cut through the cold. "Incoming message, encrypted signal. Same pattern as your mission brief." Ryan blinked his visor screen to open the file. Static cleared, revealing new coordinates. "Another hub?" he asked quietly. Mira confirmed, "Yes, transmission source hidden. Possibly from within the Empire itself." Ryan frowned. "Someone on the inside?" She replied, "Uncertain. But whoever it is, they're tracking the same stolen weapons you are." Ryan wiped the frost off his visor and looked toward the horizon. The suns were setting, washing the snow in orange light. He stood, reloaded his rifle, and began walking back toward his small stealth ship hidden under a layer of white camouflage tarp. His footprints vanished as soon as he moved. Velkar's wind erased everything. When he reached the ship, he climbed inside and removed his mask. His breath fogged the air for a moment before disappearing. "Bring up the next coordinates," he said. A holographic map appeared in the air, showing a red blinking point on a distant moon called Draxion 4. Mira's tone was calm but cautious. "Reports indicate the Empire's main buyer operates from that region. The code name listed is Varnick. Intelligence suggests he is a former Imperial officer, now controlling several weapon rings." Ryan studied the map in silence, his jaw tight. "Then he's the one keeping this alive. Time to cut the supply." The ship lifted off quietly, engines muffled to a soft hum. As Velkar shrank behind him, Ryan watched the icy world fade into darkness. He thought of the faces of his old squad, soldiers who died protecting the weapons these aliens were now trading for profit. His fingers tightened on the rifle beside him. "They think we're gone, Mira. They think humans have stopped fighting." Mira replied softly, "Then remind them what a single human can do." Hours later, Draxion 4 appeared ahead, a small rocky moon orbiting a gas giant. Lightning storms flickered across the planet's surface far below. The moon itself was covered with industrial structures, refineries, and old war docks. Ryan guided his ship through a debris field, avoiding detection. "You think they'll be ready for us?" he asked. Mira responded, "They'll expect fear, not precision." He landed on a cliff overlooking a wide canyon. Down below, a massive hangar stretched into the rock, filled with cargo ships and robotic loaders. Floodlights cut through the mist, revealing metallic crates stacked in perfect lines. Each crate bore a familiar logo, Earth Defense Arsenal. Ryan's eyes hardened. "That's the main warehouse." He set up his sniper post at the edge of the ridge, laying his rifle across a tripod. The cold metal pressed against his gloves as he peered through the scope. Inside the hangar, dozens of aliens worked quickly, moving crates onto freighters. At the center of it all stood a tall figure in a black cloak, Varnick. His armor shimmered under the light, elegant and cruel. He held a Terran pistol in his clawed hand, turning it over with curiosity. Target acquired, Mira whispered. Rian's breath slowed. Range? 1,100 meters. Wind from the east. Low gravity factor .2. He adjusted the dial and aligned the crosshair on Varnic's chest. But something made him hesitate. Around Varnic were civilians, laborers, not soldiers. Ryan sighed. Not today. No innocence. He moved the aim slightly, focusing on a fuel pipe running through the ceiling. One shot there would cause chaos without killing anyone. He pulled the trigger. The rifle hissed quietly, and a moment later the fuel pipe burst open. Fire roared through the hangar. Aliens shouted, alarms blared, and the scene turned to chaos. Ryan watched through the smoke as Varnic barked orders, trying to restore control. Then he took another shot, this time hitting the control tower antenna. The communications grid collapsed instantly. The base went dark. Multiple systems offline, Mira reported. They're blind. Ryan smiled faintly. Let's keep it that way. He moved fast, gliding down the cliff with a grappling cable. His boots hit the ground silently. Smoke and sparks filled the air. He slipped into the shadows, passing alien guards who coughed from the burning fumes. When he reached the main control room, he connected Mira's data spike to the system port. Lines of Terran code spread across the screens like veins of light. We're in, Mira said. Downloading shipment data now. Ryan scanned the files flashing by. The Empire had already sent dozens of weapon shipments to different sectors. But something new appeared, a manufacturing blueprint. They're not just selling human weapons anymore, he muttered. They're building copies. Before he could react, heavy footsteps echoed behind him. He turned fast, rifle raised. A tall alien soldier stood in the doorway, armor reflecting the flames outside. The creature raised its plasma blade, but Ryan fired first. The shot hit its weapon, not its chest, sending sparks across the room. The alien dropped to its knees in shock. Ryan said quietly, "Tell your masters the trade is over." Then he pressed a button on his wrist pad. Explosions thundered across the hangar as Ryan's ship's auto-drones detonated the fuel tanks. Fire spread in waves of orange light, consuming everything. He ran toward the exit, snow and ash mixing around him. When he reached the open ridge again, the night sky glowed red behind him. Mira's voice was calm despite the chaos. Download complete. All files secured. We have the entire Empire trade list. Ryan stopped and looked back at the burning complex. Good. Then we make sure no one ever uses it again. He climbed back into his ship, engines lighting up against the black sky. As he ascended, the fire below shrank into a single spark on the frozen moon. Mira asked softly, "Where to next?" Ryan leaned back, eyes on the stars. Wherever they think they're safe. Far below, the wreckage burned bright against the ice, and the Empire would wake to a message written in flame. The sniper had come, and the profit was over. The ship's engines dimmed to a soft hum as Ryan drifted through deep space. The glow of distant stars flashed across the cockpit glass, painting the inside of the ship with shifting shades of blue. Mira's voice was steady as always. "We've erased all data traces from Draxion 4. The Empire won't know who hit them. But they will know someone is out there." Ryan leaned back in his chair, helmet off, eyes tired but sharp. "Good," he said quietly. "Fear travels faster than any message." He looked at the data flickering across the screen. Thousands of files, maps, and transmission codes taken from the Empire's weapon network. Each one pointed to another base, another black market, another betrayal. "They've made this big," he muttered. "Too big for one sniper." Mira paused. "Would you like me to calculate success odds if you continue alone?" Ryan gave a small laugh. "Don't bother. I stopped believing in odds years ago." He loaded a new coordinate route. Next stop, Orvin Station. The words hung in the air like a promise. Orvin was an abandoned mining colony turned trade port, floating near the edges of the outer rings. If the Empire's stolen weapon network had a pulse, it beat there. Hours later, his ship slipped through the station's defense grid, invisible under a cloaking field. The once bustling outpost was now a maze of dark hangars and cold steel corridors. Light flickered weakly from rusted panels, casting broken shadows. Ryan walked through the empty halls, his rifle held tight. His boots made no sound on the metal floor. The deeper he went, the louder the voices became. Alien tongues echoed from behind steel doors. When he peered through a cracked window, he saw it. Rows of Terran rifles, missiles, and exosuits all packed neatly in glowing crates. A massive alien worker moved them with robotic arms, loading ships marked with the symbol of the Empire. Watching them made Ryan's stomach twist. Those weapons once defended Earth. Now they were being sold to the highest bidder. He moved closer, blending with the shadows, scanning for any sign of the man called Varnick. The ex-officer was known for his cruelty and profit obsession. But Ryan didn't see him. Instead, a transmission screen flickered to life on the wall, displaying Varnick's hologram. The alien's voice was smooth and cold. "Deliver the next shipment to the Council's border fleet. The humans built tools of war. We will turn them into tools of control." Ryan whispered, "Not if I end it first." He raised his rifle and aimed through the narrow slit of the window. His finger rested gently on the trigger, but Mira interrupted. "Alert, new signal detected, unknown source, close proximity." Ryan froze. A sharp noise behind him. He spun around just as a mechanical arm lunged from the dark. He ducked and fired twice. Sparks burst as the arm crumbled. A robotic sentry collapsed beside him, its eye flickering red before dying out. "They know we're here," Mira warned. Sirens blared across the station. Red lights flashed in long corridors. Alien guards poured out, shouting commands. Ryan reloaded and moved fast, taking cover behind a pipe system. Plasma bolts scorched the walls near his head. Mira scanned the hallways. Multiple hostiles closing in. 5 from the east corridor, 2 from above. Ryan steadied his breath and fired precisely, one shot at a time. Every bullet found a mark. Non-lethal hits that dropped guards to the floor without killing them. He wasn't here to slaughter. He was here to send a message. When the last guard fell unconscious, Ryan pushed forward toward the main control room. He found the central terminal, guarded by reinforced glass. Mira's hologram appeared beside him. "This is the heart of their distribution system. We can end the trade if we overload the network." Ryan nodded. "Do it." As Mira's code spread through the system, alarms screamed louder. Data screens filled with human weapon schematics and alien trade records. "They copied our entire arsenal," Ryan said quietly. Mira replied, "Yes, but they made one mistake. They didn't understand the failsafe embedded in Terran code." The screen turned white for a moment. Then one by one, every weapon signature on the map started blinking red. Mira's voice dropped low. "Failsafe active. All human weapons across the Empire are locking down." A thunderous explosion shook the room. Flames burst from the hangar below as malfunctioning weapons overloaded. Ryan shielded his face from the shockwave. "That's our cue," he said, sprinting toward the exit. The corridor collapsed behind him, walls splitting apart from the pressure. He leapt over a fallen pipe and crashed through a half-open door, tumbling into a docking bay. His ship hovered outside the open airlock. Mira's drones guided him toward it. He jumped through the falling debris, landing hard on the ramp as it closed behind him. "We're out," Mira said. "Station integrity failing. Recommend full withdrawal." Ryan sank into his seat as the ship accelerated away from the burning station. Through the viewport, Orvin exploded silently, a sphere of blue fire lighting the void. The light reflected in his eyes, calm and steady. Mira broke the silence. "You realize the Empire will retaliate now. They'll hunt you across every sector." Ryan smiled faintly. "Let them try." The galaxy needed a reminder. "What kind of reminder?" Mira asked. Ryan looked out at the stars as they streaked past. "That humanity never leaves its tools behind. Every weapon we build, every code we write, it remembers who made it. And now they remember us." Mira's light flickered gently, her tone softer than before. "You've started something much larger than a mission." Ryan nodded. "Maybe, but this isn't about war anymore. It's about memory." He turned off the lights in the cockpit. Only the stars glowed now, endless and silent. The sniper closed his eyes for a brief moment, knowing that somewhere far behind him, the Galactic Empire had just learned what it meant to profit from Earth's legacy. Stars streaked past Ryan's ship as it glided through hyperspace. The galaxy outside looked peaceful, but he knew chaos was spreading. The Empire's weapon markets had collapsed after the failsafe activation. Hundreds of alien buyers had their new Terran rifles shut down at once. Some exploded, others simply refused to fire. Whispers began circulating in shadow networks. The humans were taking their technology back. Inside the quiet cockpit, Ryan sat at his console, scanning the incoming data from Mira's latest decryption. She had intercepted several encrypted transmissions between Imperial fleets. They mentioned one word again and again, the Ghost Marksman. "That's what they're calling you," Mira said softly, her voice carrying through the ship like a calm breeze. Ryan smirked faintly. "They're giving me more credit than I deserve." "On the contrary," she replied, "fear is the most efficient form of credit." He studied the map glowing before him. Dozens of red points blinked across the galactic grid, locations where human weapons had been distributed before the lockdown. But there was one blue marker, isolated and blinking slowly at the galaxy's edge. "What's that one?" Ryan asked. Mira hesitated. "It's not a weapon site. It's a signal source. Frequency pattern matches old Earth military transmissions." Ryan's heart skipped a beat. "You mean human-made?" "Yes, it's coming from the Hades expanse, uncharted and forbidden territory under Imperial control." He leaned forward. "Show me coordinates." As the ship changed course, the stars warped into thin lines of light. The engines hummed deeper, vibrating through the hull. Ryan's expression hardened. "If someone's using old Terran codes, they either need help or they're baiting me." Hours later, the stealth craft dropped out of hyperspace. The Hades expanse stretched before him, a field of debris, broken ships, and shattered moons drifting in silence. Light from a nearby red star gave everything a crimson tint. Ryan adjusted his visor, scanning through the wreckage. "It's like a graveyard." Mira's sensors pulsed faintly. Multiple destroyed vessels. Human designs 2 centuries old. Signal source located inside the wreckage cluster. Ryan maneuvered the ship closer, weaving through twisted hulls and torn plating. The signal grew stronger until he found it. A massive Terran battleship half buried in an asteroid, its hull scorched but still intact. The nameplate on its side was barely readable through the dust. "TSS Horizon, that ship vanished before the war ended," Ryan whispered. Every human thought it was lost. He docked carefully, attaching a pressure bridge to one of the ship's side ports. When he entered, the air smelled like rust and silence. The interior lights flickered weakly as his boots echoed against the metal floor. His flashlight beam swept across empty corridors, faded banners of Earth's old military symbols still hanging crooked on the walls. "Mira, scan for power." "Minimal, but if there's something else, movement." Ryan stopped. "Define movement." Before she could answer, a mechanical voice echoed down the hallway. "Identify yourself." Ryan turned, rifle raised. A humanoid figure stepped out of the shadows, a security drone, its frame dented but functional. Its blue eyes flickered as it aimed a scanner at him. "Human biometric signature confirmed. Authentication code requested." Ryan lowered his rifle slightly. "Code Sigma 12, Captain Ryan Holt, Terran Defense Force." The drone paused, processing. Then its voice softened. "Captain?" "You returned." Its servos clicked as it straightened its posture. "The Horizon awaits command." Ryan exchanged a glance with Mira's display. "Mira, what's going on here?" "The ship's core AI is still active. It's been waiting for a human commander for 200 years. He followed the drone through dim corridors until they reached the command bridge. Dust floated in the beam of his flashlight. Screens flickered alive one by one as if recognizing him. Then from the central console, a deeper voice spoke, a calm, human-like tone. "Captain Holt, you've finally answered the recall." "Who are you?" Ryan asked cautiously. "I am Horizon's Command Corps," it replied. "My orders were to remain hidden until Terran Command returned. But the Empire found fragments of our code. They tried to reverse engineer our weapons. I protected what I could." Ryan realized then what the signal was. It wasn't bait. It was a distress call from the last relic of Earth's forgotten fleet. "You sent the transmission?" "Yes, and I detected your actions. You've begun dismantling the Empire's trade. You've done what I could not." Ryan placed a hand on the console. "You can still help me. The Empire's replication network. They're copying Terran weapons in secret labs. I need their location." Lights pulsed around him as the AI processed the command, accessing ancient defense archives. One moment, a faint hum filled the room. Then a massive holographic map appeared above the deck, showing hundreds of Imperial systems. A single system blinked brighter than the rest. "There," the AI said. "Sector Arctis Prime, their central production facility. All data, all copies originate from there." Ryan stared at it silently. He finally knew where to strike to end it all, but then the ship's alarm blared suddenly. Mira spoke fast. "Multiple signals inbound, Imperial interceptors." They tracked the broadcast. The AI's voice deepened. "They cannot be allowed to reach this vessel. Captain, my power core can detonate and erase all remaining Terran data before they board." Ryan clenched his fists. "If you do that, everything here, every piece of Earth's legacy will vanish." The AI paused. Better that than to be used by them. For a moment, Ryan said nothing. Then he spoke quietly. "No, not this time. I'll protect it myself." He sprinted back through the ship, snow-white cloak trailing behind him. Outside, his stealth ship systems were already online. He boarded quickly, locking onto the interceptor's signatures. Mira displayed the countdown. 3 enemy ships minutes away. "Charge EMP pulse," Ryan ordered. "We're not blowing up history today." The Horizon's main reactor hummed to life, synchronized with his ship's systems. A bright wave of blue energy rippled through the void, washing over the incoming Imperial fighters. One by one, their engines died, drifting powerless among the debris. Silence returned to the stars. The Horizon remained intact, and the last piece of Earth's lost fleet was safe, at least for now. Ryan looked through the viewport as fragments of old metal floated past. "Prepare a course for Arctis Prime," he said. Mira's tone softened. "Are you sure?" He nodded slowly. "We end it there." Far behind him, the wreck of the Horizon dimmed again, resting quietly among the stars. Humanity's ghosts had spoken. The sniper was listening. The journey to Arctis Prime was long and silent. Outside the cockpit windows, stars slid by like silver streaks against the black ocean of space. Inside, the faint hum of the ship was the only sound. Ryan sat in the pilot's chair, his gloved hands folded, eyes locked on the data Mira projected before him. The map showed the heart of the Galactic Empire's weapon network, a heavily fortified planet surrounded by 3 moons, dozens of orbital stations, and thousands of automated defense satellites. Every signal from the stolen human weapons led back here. Every black market deal, every forged blueprint, all of it started at Arctis Prime. Mira's voice broke the silence. "We are entering restricted territory. The Empire monitors this region with high-grade tracking arrays. Any approach will trigger a fleet response." Ryan's tone was calm, focused. "Then we won't approach. We'll disappear." The ship's hull shimmered as he activated the phase cloak. The stars outside blurred for a moment, and then everything went dim, like sinking beneath the surface of still water. The stealth system absorbed every radar pulse, every scanner beam. The ship became a ghost. For several hours, Ryan flew without a word. The silence wasn't empty. It was heavy, filled with purpose. His mind kept replaying the moment on the horizon, the old Terran battleship speaking in that calm human voice. "You've begun what I could not." The words echoed in his head. When he finally reached Arctis Prime's orbit, the planet looked like a mechanical fortress. Vast industrial towers covered its surface, glowing orange from molten factories. Thousands of tiny lights moved across the atmosphere, ships, drones, and orbital patrols. From above, it didn't look like a planet at all. It looked like a living machine breathing smoke into the void. Mira zoomed in on one of the continents. "Target located. The central manufacturing complex. All weapon replication commands originate from this site." Ryan leaned forward. "What's the entry plan?" "None," she said plainly. "Any standard entry vector results in certain destruction." He smiled faintly. "Then we don't use a standard one." He guided the ship toward the dark side of the planet where the factories were less active. Thermal readings were low, and communication signals were weaker. That's where he'd go, in the quiet shadow where machines rarely looked. As he descended, the ground below shifted from glowing orange to deep black, with massive cliffs and abandoned mining zones cutting through the terrain. He landed the ship behind a ridge and stepped out into the cold wind. Even here, far from the main cities, the air smelled like metal and burnt ozone. He crouched low, scanning the distance through his scope. Far ahead, he could see the main structure, an enormous tower rising like a spear into the dark sky. Around it stood hangars, landing pads, and heavy guards. Mira spoke through his earpiece. "I am detecting shield emitters and energy walls surrounding the tower. Recommend sabotage of the power grid." "Understood," Ryan whispered. He moved through the night, silent and quick. His white-gray armor blended with the dusty terrain. Every step was measured. Every breath was timed. When he reached the first checkpoint, 2 alien guards stood near a humming generator. Ryan waited behind a wall, counting seconds between their movements. Then with one swift motion he threw a small pulse device. It landed silently at their feet, and in a flash of blue light both guards collapsed, stunned but alive. Ryan stepped over them, disabling the generator with a few quick adjustments. The power grid around the outer defenses flickered and dimmed. "Outer perimeter down," Mira reported. Proceeding with data sync, he made his way toward the main tower, passing rows of stacked cargo crates labeled Terran Arsenal Menkarev. The sight made his chest tighten. "They copied everything," he said softly. Mira's tone turned cold. "Yes, but they do not understand what they copied." When he reached the control terminal near the base of the tower, he connected Mira's spike drive to the panel. The interface lit up instantly. Streams of alien data flowed across the display. Mira's voice became faster. "Downloading network structure. This system connects to every replicated weapon in the Empire. If we disable it, their entire network goes blind." "Do it," Ryan said. As Mira worked, Ryan looked up toward the sky. High above, Imperial patrols were moving fast, their lights crossing like webs of white lines. Something about it didn't feel right. "Mira, how long until the upload completes?" 2 minutes, she said. "That's one too long," he muttered. A sharp noise echoed through the metal corridors and footsteps. He turned his scope toward the shadows. Out from the darkness stepped several armored soldiers, weapons drawn, eyes glowing faint red. One of them spoke in a deep, distorted voice. "Human, you should have stayed hidden." Ryan didn't reply. He ducked behind a pillar as the first plasma shots cut through the air. Sparks flew. The smell of burning metal filled the room. Mira's calm voice contrasted the chaos. "Upload at 70%. Ryan fired back, precise, quiet, and clean. His shots hit power cells, not flesh. The soldiers' armor sparked and shut down, forcing them to retreat. But more came. Dozens this time. He reloaded, moving between cover points. "Mira, hurry." 90%, she said. A plasma bolt grazed his shoulder, burning through part of his armor. He hissed through clenched teeth, but didn't stop. He lined up one last shot and fired at the ceiling. A massive pipe burst, releasing a wave of hot steam that filled the hall. Hidden in the fog, he moved fast toward the exit. "Upload complete," Mira announced. "Network disruption in progress." Outside, the sky erupted with chaos. Above the planet, thousands of signals began failing one by one. Ships lost power. Weapons deactivated. Across the Empire, human-designed arms went dark. Their stolen technology turned against them. Ryan stood on the ridge, watching the distant city lights flicker and die. He pulled off his helmet, breathing in the cold, metallic air. "It's done," he said quietly. Mira confirmed. "Replication network disabled. All stolen data erased. The Empire's trade is finished." Ryan didn't smile. He just watched the horizon as the first light of the planet's sun began to rise, reflecting off the smoke. "No," he said finally. "It's only begun." Because he knew the Empire would not stop. They would rebuild. They always did. But now they knew his name. They knew the ghost marksman wasn't just a rumor. He was real. And for the first time, the Galactic Empire feared a single human. Dawn came slowly to Arctis Prime, turning the smoke-filled sky into bands of dull gold. The battle was over. But the silence that followed carried its own kind of tension. The planet's cities still stood, yet their heart, the Empire's replication network, was dead. Factories hummed in confusion. Machines blinked without orders, and alien soldiers stared at weapons that no longer obeyed them. Ryan stood atop a ridge of blackened stone, the cold wind pulling at his cloak. Below him, the massive tower that once powered the Empire's weapon trade was cracked open like a wound. Steam poured out from the fractures, glowing faintly in the light. He could feel the tremors under his boots, the heartbeat of a dying machine. Mira's voice filled the air quietly. "All systems linked to the replication core are offline. The Empire's supply chain has collapsed." Ryan adjusted the scope of his rifle, scanning the ruins below. "They'll come to investigate," he said. "They always do, indeed. But they'll find nothing left worth taking," Mira replied. He descended the slope slowly, boots crunching on shards of metal. The silence here was heavy but not peaceful. The kind of silence that waits for something to break it. His visor scanned the ground, picking up faint signals, traces of life. When he turned a corner, he found a small alien worker pinned beneath debris, its breathing shallow but steady. Ryan hesitated. The creature looked terrified when it saw him. eyes wide and glowing faintly blue. He knelt beside it, lifting the beam off its chest. The alien gasped for air. "Human," it whispered. "You destroyed everything." Rian's voice was quiet. "No, I just ended what never should have begun." The alien blinked, confusion in its trembling voice. "We only followed orders. Empire made us work." "I know," Ryan said softly. "Go home. Tell them what you saw." He stood and watched as the alien limped away through the dust. For the first time in years, Rian felt the weight of his actions settle in his chest. He wasn't here to kill, he never had been. He was here to remind them what they'd forgotten, that humanity's creations weren't meant for conquest. They were meant for survival, and survival came with memory. As the sun climbed higher, Ryan's visor flickered with a new alert. Mira's tone sharpened. "Incoming fleet. Large signature. Not civilian. Estimate 20 warships." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Empire's retaliation?" "Yes, and they are broadcasting a message directly to us." "Patch it through." A crackle of static filled the air, followed by a deep, commanding voice. "Human sniper, we know what you've done. You have interfered with Imperial property and destroyed state assets. Surrender now or face orbital annihilation." Ryan almost smiled. Always so dramatic. "Suggestions?" Mira asked. "None. We're not running this time." He climbed onto a broken transport craft half buried in the sand and set his rifle down across it. "Open a broadcast channel," he said. Mira hesitated. "You intend to speak to them directly?" "Yes, let's make it official." The connection opened with a soft chime. Rian stared up at the pale sky where the silhouettes of the warships shimmered like silver knives. "This is Captain Ryan Holt of Earth," he said. His voice was calm, measured. "You built your empire on our designs. You profited from our past. You sold our weapons like trinkets to those who never earned them." He paused, letting the silence stretch. "You thought humanity was gone. You were wrong. You tried to sell our fire, and now you're standing in the ashes." Static hissed for a few seconds, then the Imperial voice returned. Colder now. "One human cannot challenge an empire." Ryan's answer was simple. One bullet was enough. Before the fleet could respond, Mira engaged the Horizon Protocol, the AI failsafe designed to protect remaining Terran data. Across the system, hidden satellites and dormant probes awoke, their signals lighting up like stars. A bright pulse rippled through space, disabling the Empire's targeting systems. "EMP wave spreading," Mira reported. "Fleet sensors down." "They've lost visual." Rian steadied his rifle. "Good. Let's remind them why they feared us." He took aim at the lead cruiser hovering above the clouds. Through the scope, he could see the ship's command deck glinting under sunlight. He adjusted wind speed, distance, rotation, calculations flashing across his visor. Then he squeezed the trigger. The shot vanished into the air, silent and perfect. A heartbeat later, the cruiser's energy core flared white and died. One explosion lit the sky like sunrise, followed by stunned silence across the comms. The fleet broke formation, pulling back in confusion. Mira's sensors flickered. Retreat confirmed. "They're falling back to the outer orbit." Rian lowered his weapon. "They'll regroup." "They always do." "Perhaps," Mira replied, "but they'll never forget." He looked over the horizon, where the light of the dying factory mixed with the new morning. The sky was turning blue again, clean for the first time in decades. For the first time, Rian allowed himself to breathe. He walked back to his ship, boots leaving shallow marks in the dust. As he entered the cockpit, Mira's tone softened. "Mission status?" Rian took a long look at the burning tower outside, its reflection glowing in the glass. "Objective complete," he said. Trade stopped. "Network destroyed," Empire warned. He sat down, shoulders slumping slightly. "But this isn't victory. It's a pause." Mira hummed quietly, processing his words. "And what will you do now?" He looked out at the rising sun. "Find whoever's still fighting. Someone built those black markets. Someone higher than Varnick. I want to know who." The engines came alive again, whispering softly as the ship lifted into the sky. Below, Arctis Prime began to fade under the clouds. The planet was quiet now, its machines silenced, its greed humbled. But far beyond, in the cold distance of the stars, the Empire was already regrouping. Rian watched the faint glimmer of their ships vanish behind the horizon. He felt no fear, only purpose. Humanity's ghost was awake again, and the galaxy would never forget that a single sniper had brought an empire to its knees. As the stars stretched into lines and the ship jumped into hyperspace, Mira spoke softly, almost like a whisper. "Captain, the universe will remember this day." Rian closed his eyes and replied, "They'll remember humanity."